some drink before I start. And we're back with yet another exciting episode of Rick's Horror Review Show. That's Rick's favorite horror YouTube short review, where we review absolutely everything and anything that's related to horror. Horror movies, horror TV shows, horror documentaries, horror primetime specials from the 1990s, featuring Barbara Walters. And I'm here now. And of course, I just mentioned horror YouTube shorts. And tonight, one night only, a special event. With us tonight, we have a special guest. A special guest that is special. Ladies and gentlemen, please get ready to meet a true maestro of the visual arts from the heartland of Nebraska, where he first started directing his family and friends in homemade film projects, to the professional stages of advertising and marketing. Please put your hands together for the incredibly talented Nebraska native Carlos Omar De León. How are you, sir?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Carlos, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you joining us tonight. How are you?
Oh, doing pretty great over here. I'm now living up here in Minneapolis.
Minneapolis, Minnesota, huh?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm a Midwestern boy or guy, however you like to say it.
I'm gonna have to delete all of my questions about Nebraska now that you
No,
are.
I do. Trust me, I go back all the time, and I grew up there. I'm a Nebraska Husker fan. I'm actually gonna go back to the game.
Oh,
So like I said, I'm born and true Nebraskan, so I know a lot of Nebraska, even to the state. Like I said, my family still lives there, so I go back all the time.
That's awesome. And speaking of going back all the time,
Around 10 a.m.,
video to our audience.
responded to a call.
That's probably common. Like I said, it's like they're very, in the sense of like how Nebraskans are, they're kind of like Mexicans. They just like to improvise and just do their thing. Trust me, Nebraskans are like that. I mean, you hear, like, you see, like, what is it, the Larry the Cable Guy, when he does his like stand-up stuff. A lot of that stuff is pretty true. Like I said, they're pretty crafty and pretty nifty. Like, I dated a girl that grew up on a farm when I was in college, and then like this improvisation that their parents do with when stuff breaks down and stuff. Go.
So
Like I said, look at that.
It's just the normal everyday occurrence is having a giant. I mean, that looks like, I don't know anything, but it looks like a Texas Longhorn, but obviously it's not because it's in Nebraska. But this thing is a monstrosity. Look at this thing. Just common.
This guy was just probably wanting to get the attention, but it's pretty common to see a bunch of those things like in big trailers and stuff like that. So this guy's getting talking through with the cops, and like I said, the cops over there are like pretty laid back. They're not gonna I'm gonna throw you to jail just because you're traveling with a big bull in there. But
that is
like I said, it's like, you should see the stuff that people drive with on their cars. I saw one where, like, remember in is it Toy Story 3 when they would staple all the what is it, the teddy bears on top of the thing? There's stuff like that happens every now and then, like in the small little towns. You'll see some weird stuff like that.
It's just standard stuff for small little towns, though.
It's standard, and like you said, when you'll do a double take at first, and like, and then you remember where you're at.
Yeah, you're like, of course.
Yes, exactly.
And for you just mentioned something earlier, which is obviously very interesting. You're in Nebraska, but you have a Mexican roots. Tell us about that.
Yeah, my parents are originally, I'm a first gen born here, and I was born in Iowa, Sioux City, Iowa.
Welcome to the club.
And my parents are originally from the state of Jalisco. They're like it's a town called Zapotlanejo near Guadalajara. It's like 20 minutes east. Right now it's like a fashion, like it's known for like the main two drags, the main two streets. It's full of clothes. It's like 1.5 miles up of clothing, like stores, and then up, and then 1 mile down. And then now it has restaurants, gyms, and stuff like that. So it's like a touristy place now. There's a place called they have a place called Puente Calderon, where there was like a big battle during the Mexican independence. So it was a big battle that's near there. So they have a bunch of historical stuff there, and that's also called the gateway to Los Altos, where all the Los Altos is usually you know how it is with Los Altos is, if when you're from Jalisco, that's where a lot of people that we call them Whitexicans. That's where a lot of us are like pretty fair skinned and we look more European. Los Altos is just basically a bunch of. I have cousins. If you looked at my cousins that come like first cousins that are from like Tepatitlan, which is like another town 30 minutes that way, and that one's a big one. That's a big town. They look like white girls. I remember when they moved over here. My parents helped their parents immigrate over here after they were over here, like in the 90s, and we went to school. All the teachers talked to them in English, and they were like, "What? Like you don't know English?" She's like, "No, it's like that's my cousin Lisbeth. She's directly from Mexico. She has no idea what you're talking about." And then they had to get into ESL classes and stuff. But now their
That's
English is super good. Like they don't even have accents anymore. It's pretty
no.
crazy how like if you come over here really early, your accents go away. But yeah, like my parents grew up there, and like I said, I still have cousins. I go there all the time. I go once or twice or three times a year back to Mexico because my
That's
parents.
awesome. I have a
I'll give
question
you
for you.
I'll give you the. I always just tell the people the Cliff Notes versions. My parents were like dirt poor growing up. Came over in the '70s. Got to Nebraska because that's when like meat packing plants were like exploding around here, right? So they came
Right.
over here, and like not a lot of people from over here wanted to work in them, so they did. And they thought, hey, they can pay me this much to do this, sure. Did that for 20 years. They had four of us. I'm the last one. My brother's the oldest, and I have two older sisters. And they just mounted up. They saved money. They bought real estate. They rented out places, a couple places. They bought a couple houses to rent out to other immigrants in the town, right there in like the Sioux City area of Iowa, Sioux City, South Sioux City, Nebraska. It's like a tri-state area, South
Right.
Dakota, North Dakota. It's like in the little. It's like 125,000 people, like in the metro. And they did that, and then they went back to Mexico, bought real estate in that town of Zapotlanejo that's like booming now. But who would have thought that would have happened then? Then they bought a restaurant, ran that for 25 years, got out of the meatpacking plant, and that's all they retired. They just retired off all the rental properties in Mexico and here, and all the commercial stuff that they bought. Like I said, they're like I always try to tell people that's the American dream. Like they came with out of nothing, and now look at them. They retired without even a 401k or a pension. So like I
Believe
said, that's something to look up to my parents, and they were they put all of us through college. And they give us all the opportunities that they never had. So
That's
like I said,
amazing.
I'm very proud to be, obviously Mexican, but also proud to be an American because, like I said, this country gave our family everything.
That's true. Absolutely. That's a great story. Let me ask you, what's influenced you more? Because I mean, obviously, you a writer, you're a film, you're a director, a writer,
Mhm.
but the YouTube shorts that we'll talk about momentarily, and hopefully we'll get your input. Most of these are horror shorts. Now, you do have some that are not. What's influenced, I think, for you, your style of horror, telling horror stories, or rather, I should ask, do you have influences from your Mexican heritage? Like I know you said you go back there a lot. Did you go back there a lot as a kid, or are you just influenced primarily by like American culture? Is there a mix of both, or what do you think?
It's both. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I was my two older siblings are Gen X, so that one was born in '73, one was born a couple years later, like 3 or 4 years. And since I was the last, and I was a pretty shy kid growing up, I basically became like an adopted Gen X kid, latchkey kids. Like my parents would be working,
Yeah.
at that time they were building up their stuff. My old siblings, they were, older siblings. They wanted to go out and be with friends. Like, hey, they knew I was like a shy kid. I was a smart kid because I used to, do you guys ever know those big satellite dishes that like took up half a
Sure.
backyard?
Those monstrosities, of course. Yeah.
My parents got one of those in like in the late '80s, and I was like 5 or 6, and I learned how to operate. I was a pretty smart kid. I could pick up technology really quick. And I taught myself how to run it.
Yeah.
And and then obviously I knew how to make myself food out of the microwave too. They knew I would never touch because I think I got burned once when I was like younger on the stove. And I was like, I never touch this. So they knew that I was smart enough not to like do anything stupid, like to leave the house or anything. So they'd be like, hey, we'll go to Blockbuster or go to like the, Family Video or wherever,
Right.
or the Premiere Video, whatever the local video store was. They'd go there, rent me. My sister also worked at a video store because
Oh,
her
did
best
she?
friend,
Yeah.
her family owned it, and they just rented me anything I wanted, rated R movies, any type of movies. So whatever movies that they watched, I would rent them, and then anything I saw that was like previews, like Predator 2. I know La Bamba was a big one for me growing
Sure.
up as a Mexican American. I watched that like round the clock.
As we
Top
all did.
Gun, like all of those movies. And then my siblings would rent all like the horror movies, like all the Friday the 13th movies, all the Halloween movies, all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, like all those horror movies. Candyman. I remember when they got Candyman, and then I was just influenced by those, like, the Gen X stuff that they grew up in the early '90s, and because like I said, they were still in high school, and they would let me watch all this stuff. But then also when I would go to Mexico, I'd always watch the video nasties, all those cheap. They were like, everybody knows, like in Mexico, there was that golden generation where there was like the Pedro Infante from like the, what is it, 40s, 50s, and 60s, and then
Right.
the 70s, 80s, and early 90s was just a bunch of shit. It was just a bunch of like, I wouldn't say it's a bunch of shit. It's just a bunch of like, what is it? It stayed for some reason. Mexico's film industry nosedived, and it stayed in Mexico. So you have like Hermanos Almada, all those like sex and like shoot up movies with the cartels and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then the corrupt cops and all of this crap, whatever. And then the wrestling ones from like El Santo and Blue Demon and all
Of
that shit.
course. Oh, those are
Like
awesome.
all of those movies, I grew up watching that. And then Cantinflas, my dad used to watch Cantinflas and Western, so I got exposure to all of that. So like I said, it would just influence my style. And then once I started getting older, my brother was in college, and he had a film studies class, and this is when I started getting into like the highbrow stuff. So I saw 2001: A Space Odyssey with him, The Fly from David Cronenberg. I saw so many like artsy fartsy movies with him that I was like, I didn't understand it at the time,
Right.
but then I would watch them again. I'd rent them, and I think I was like 9 years old. I watched Blade Runner, like, I was like, holy crap, what the heck is this? And I thought it was pretty cool.
Right.
Um, and I could get that stuff, and then I slowly just from there it grew in my mind. Oh, let me start renting this stuff. This is like when DVDs started coming out with commentaries, and then I would start
Yes.
watching all of those just to hear the directors talk about it and see the behind the scenes stuff.
Right.
And then, like I said, that just slowly like planted the seed in my head as a kid. All of that stuff, watching all those movies and all that stuff. And then I started watching, and I started getting favorites. Like your usuals, your Steven Spielberg, your James Camerons. But then I started gravitating to more like John Carpenter, Danny Boyle, Guillermo del Toro. There's so many of them that like I said, I might be leaving out, but those are like a lot of those are my influences because they're quirky, they're character studies, but they're also really good visual storytellers. Like especially the John Carpenter and David Cronenberg. Those two like are really big influence in what I do because they would do a lot of different genres. They could go from action to comedy to whatever.
Sure.
David Cronenberg could go from really weird to doing like a straight like movie like he would do. He obviously likes to like the weirdness and stuff like that, but he did a Violence, which is one of my favorite from him, and that's a really good movie. I remember watching the behind the scenes that when I was in college, and I was like, this is a director that I want to do because I remember there's a scene with him. This is not like quote for quote what he said, but it was like he was with his DP, and he was talking to him, and the DP was like, I don't think the shot's gonna work, David. How about we try this and try this? And what do you think? And then he was like, yeah, I trust you. Oh, let's do that. Let's just do that. Because it wasn't like how he envisioned it, but he trusts his DP. He was like, okay, we'll do it that way.
Right.
And I was like, wow. I was like, you don't have to control everything. Because I remember when I was in high school with my thing, I would do the smallest little edit and I thought I had to do everything. Like the Robert Rodriguez type shit.
Yeah.
Because that was another influence growing up too. I thought you had to do all of that stuff to get your way. The James Cameron type of stuff, like the dictatorship stuff. But then as I got older and I got more experience doing like short films, I was like, you know what? I'm more of collaborative, more of like, I like to have my sets to be more really collaborative. I like if somebody has a thing that we're missing, I'd like them to speak up. Or if the actor thinks they want more take, I'll give them time. And just, just to be mindful about that. It's just not all about you. It's a collaborative effort from not just me all the way down to the PAs, because the PAs, this is like, I remember being a PA and being at the bottom of the totem pole.
What is
and
the most
working with directors that shall not be named that were like jerks. Like they didn't give a shit about you. You're just there. They could fire you whenever you want. But then there was also directors that would remember my name,
right?
Shake my hand, and I was like, "Holy crap!" It's like this is when you start working, when you start getting into like the video production world, film production world, whatever, like in TV ads, TV shows, film, whatever. You start seeing there's different types of directors. Some, there's no right way to be director. It's just that you just feel you find your own style and your own voice to do that stuff. I know it's a long-winded answer to get on all of that, but like I said, it
No, this is
all
great.
works into what I've become to this day. And I tell other future filmmakers, hey, just you always find your own voice, do your own thing. Maybe you don't like to be a director, maybe you want to be a cinematographer, maybe you want to be an editor, but you will all find your way. But never give up on any of that stuff, because just because you have a bad experience on set doesn't don't let that like ruin your whole expectations about the industry. That's why I always like when I teach. Sometimes I do I teach classes to like high schoolers and some college students about filmmaking, and it's like
Yeah.
you're just gonna you have to get your hands dirty, and once you get in there, you start figuring out what you want to do. And and I always tell them, don't always let one rotten apple ruin the whole thing for you.
Sure. That's absolutely right. I completely agree with that. That's awesome. Okay, you mentioned a lot about behind the scenes stuff and James Cameron and it's funny. Like I told you, I mentioned to you that like one of my favorite commentators I think is the Terminator 2 commentator, and obviously he directed that. So yeah, I mean he definitely sounds like he has complete and total control of his projects, and it's nice to know that you yourself are not necessarily like that and you found your way. Okay, how about we now move into actually hearing from you, a director, and you give us some behind the scenes footage, some behind the scenes commentary onto really the stuff that you've done. That work for you? Hello? Uh-oh. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So we had some technical difficulties, as it tends to be the case often because the internet. No, so I was going to ask you, thank you for letting us know about your experiences and all that positivity. Thank you for teaching kids about that stuff as well. I think it's important, obviously, to teach the next generation. But what I want to ask you now is, are you, and obviously you came on the show, so you are willing to give us some behind the scenes commentary on as many pieces of your work as you'd like. I have this one, which I really enjoy, called, was it Cal or a KAL?
Cal.
Cal. Okay. So what I will do is I will key up Cal here, and I will have it just low on volume here. They can, if the audience wants to watch this on their own, they can watch it on their own with the high volume. But I'll leave it low, and I'll play it, and you can just give me some behind the scenes stuff that I would never know, because I'm obviously not on the set. I have no idea what the heck you're doing. Before we get started, I will tell you about a shot that I really enjoyed. Was when, I don't know how it's done, but maybe you can tell us more about this. It looks like the little creature, and I won't spoil it before we watch it, goes between the character's legs, and she doesn't notice it. Tell me how you accomplished those shots, because I found it interesting, and it looked funny to me, like how you simulated the character going on there. In my mind, obviously, my mind's eye saw the little stupid character going through her, like, which is great filmmaking, right? That's the point. All right, here we go. And I'll play. Great music, by the way.
This one we shot. When was this? Either 2013 or 2014. I think I got to make. I wanted to make this short film. I think I was still doing ads and stuff, but I wanted to get back into this.
Yeah.
Or something. I was like, you know what? I want to get back into making filmmaking. So I really quick, and I had a friend who owns Labyrinth Films over there in South Dakota. And he says, "Any film equipment?" It's like, yeah. It was with a red, but he forgot he rented it out. So he ended up getting, like, this is at the time, Magic cameras, like little small ones. And it's like, oh yeah, we could do a lot of fun stuff. So camera tests about like the POV of the little doll and stuff. I'll get to that once we get further in.
Yeah. Can I say something? I'm gonna be an annoying audience member. This is exactly what I would say. What I said when she opened the box. It's like, how is this girl just stone cold fit? Like what? Like I would be having a heart attack in this instant if I saw. How is this possible? She's just looking at it like, what? A creepy clown in my box? Not again.
And like I always like for this one we did it. I think when we wrote, it's like, you know what, we're gonna make this like a really dumb like '80s person, like how it was in the '80s, where they're out there like, you shouldn't go in there, or you shouldn't open that door, or you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that.
100%.
Exactly.
Every trope that you can imagine, or like the audience says, don't do that. I feel like you did it here, which is like, what?
Exactly.
How?
Exactly.
All right, let's keep going. Get her reactions. She's like, oh, cow, whatever. I like tell me about the subtlety of there. It starts to write the M and it scratches it off. Like it didn't, like, what was that about? Like, was that a mistake, or you just, what's
No,
you know what
that was more like a joke, an inside joke. You're like, you know what? If we're just gonna go all out and like be on the nose, might as well just go all the way.
Yeah.
Like, hey, if this guy's just trying to pick up like a pen, instead of like, we would write like this, since it's so tiny, it'd be like writing like this.
Yeah.
So we're like, you know what? Let's just go all in. And then we
Awesome.
just did that, and we thought that'd be like a funny little thing if people would catch it.
Who wrote this, by the way?
A friend of mine. He's actually a filmmaker. His name is Andrew Keitlinger.
Uh-huh.
He's had a couple movies already out. They're on Amazon Prime. One's called Tater Tot and Patton. It has Jessica Roth, who's in Happy Death Day,
right?
And Happy Death Day 2. Or it's her name. Yeah, he's a good director. He has another one that he actually directed for. What is it? Not Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oops. So he's gonna kill me for that. Sylvester Stallone's production company called Balboa Productions. I think it's called A Boy on the Mountain. It's going to come out on Paramount Plus here. I don't know if it's limited theatrical release, but it's a true story. Got like lost in like in the 1910s or 20s, and he survived on the mountain. How he got down, and then he's also prepping a new movie. But yeah, he's from South Dakota, Sioux Falls.
Right on.
And he's like a really good. Like I said, he's a really good like character director. I mean, the guy can direct his ass off. We're about the same age, and he came on down. I asked him, "Hey, you want to help out?" And he's like, "Sure, man." Like I said, us Midwesterners, like we help out a lot of our own, like here in the community in the Twin Cities area here in Minneapolis, St. Paul. I help a lot of my friends out to do stuff, like either with getting them connections, money, and stuff like that. Like I said, I always like to help out my fellow directors. Like I said, I'm not one of those like assholes that, I got to do it first. No, if you need help, man, I'm more willing to help you out with whatever you need.
Community, totally love it.
Exactly.
I love this. I love the backwards why. It looks like a kid wrote it. Like some creepy kid, but obviously it was a clown. I don't know. It gives me the sense of. What about the puppet? Who made the puppet? Is that like a store-bought thing, or is that like a custom?
Yeah, we bought it off Amazon. Like I found creepy, and then I saw so many of them that were like proprietary. So I bought one that was like somebody made and like ripped off from something.
It's her tiny squint, so subtle, right? She's like.
Actually, this actress, she's not really an actress. She's an editor out in California. She works on like big productions. She's like an assistant director or editor right now, but I think she's working her way up to being an editor.
Oh, that's awesome. Doing the business. Yeah, this totally here. I'm like, okay, yeah, just throw it out, let's go back to normal. That's what I was talking about right there. That was a funny scene. It was so funny. It's just like, sucky.
It's such a small camera. Just use it with one hand or like with a little rig and just walk it through somebody's. Like you could keep it really low since it's not heavy at all. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool camera. Like,
it's like what I saw when I saw that was like almost like a Child's Play scene.
Yes, and that's what exactly we were trying to go for too.
Yeah. It's like even the sound. Oh my god, it's funny. Who did the voice here?
I think Andrew did too. And then I just what did I do? I just went and posted and like altered his voice
Oh,
to
that's
make it
awesome.
sound more creepier.
Of course.
And we wanted to make it like it had supernatural like control over her, so it could shut doors and everything. So
Yeah.
that was like hopefully it got through to people when they watched it.
Look at the sound steps again. I found those so fun.
It tripped her.
The puppet's footsteps. Who held that up there?
Who was that? Was that me? I think I must have
You
done
did
that.
that?
Like we were supposed to get rid of that in post production, but we never did. So I was like, screw it. The little string.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. That's just obviously, you know. Oh, so evil! What an evil little bastard! I love it. It's funny when you sent me all of your stuff. You didn't send this one, and I told you before that maybe the next one I'll show was my favorite, but I think this one's my favorite now, my new favorite. It just hits the right notes for me. It's like comical for me personally. I love horror, make horror funny. But what was the inspiration behind this guy? Like, what made you want to do? Obviously, you mentioned 80s horror films. Was that the goal all along, or you just kind of went along? Do you have an idea before you go and do this, or does it just develop, especially for the first one?
Since I wanted to get back in, I was like, you know what? I just want to do something and get back into it. Like,
yeah.
Back when I was in college and I was in high school, shout out to one of my best friends, Johnny, and he's also a director, Johnny Stapleton, and he's in some of my films. He's also an actor. He started out as an actor, but he also is an actor director, and he got me into this in high school. And then I did a lot of short horror films because I always liked horror films, and then I went to college, did the same thing, did a bunch of short horror films.
Yeah.
And then when I got into the professional world, I got out of it. I just started doing TV commercials because I was good at it.
Right.
And then
Which you do a lot of.
Yeah, a ton. And then I was like, you know what? And this is like, I needed to be inspirational because at the time I was getting over like a really rough breakup. I was like, you know what? I got to get back to what my passion is. And then I decided to get back into filmmaking. And it's like, what better way to do it than shorts? And I think since that time, I said to myself, I'm gonna make one short a year. I don't give a crap if I don't make a feature film yet, but until I make a feature film, I'm going to start making short films every freaking year. And I think I have like 9 or 10.
That's awesome.
And it's been like a decade. And I'm going to make another one this year, and I can give people a preview of what it might be. Like I said, towards the end of this recording, I can tell you what my next one's going to be. Actually, I have another one that's in post-production that's going to be finished, and we can talk about that one as well. But yeah, this one, the inspiration of this one, like I said, it was Child's Play. There was another one that was from Mexico. It had Pedro Fernandez or Pedrito Fernandez. It was called, what was it called? It was like a really cheesy 1980s, early 1990s, like La Casa de Terror or something like that.
Oh my goodness, those are funny.
De Terror. Yeah,
when you said like the 70s and 80s, I think they were pretty good at like cheesy comedy stuff, right? I mean, maybe they were like golden era, like dramatic pictures, but they were cheesy, funny stuff in there, man.
They were entertaining. Like you would want to watch them. Like you'd want to rent them, or when they're on TV, you can watch it. Like what is it? Those was the Vacaciones de, what was that one where they would do the skits? They would have basically, those like all the shit ton of those.
It's funny shit, right? It was just funny stuff.
It was real, and the funny thing is like when you look at the reactions, that was real. They were really filming it. Right? Like that is today. They really were like pissing people off. I could just imagine some of the stuff that they couldn't show because the people didn't sign up the waiver. I was like, holy crap. Because you watch their reactions, like shit. This is like the early, like this is mid '80s and stuff. Like, yeah, they were getting pissed.
Well, we started with that bull riding in the car, as we said earlier. Down there, it's a little different. So no way for anybody doing that. I was gonna ask you. I know that based on what your biography and stuff. What was the first thing that you actually directed? So you directed Your Friends and Family. What was the first thing that you actually put together?
It was a short film. What was it? It was a well, I can't remember. I think I must have it like on a little mini DD tape. It was a short film with with Johnny in it. I think he played the protagonist, or it was just me. I think I filmed myself doing it too,
Yeah,
and then I had my nieces in some of them. I can't remember. It was a horror movie. I can't remember what it was called. I think it was like Boogeyman living in your
that's
closet,
awesome.
and I was just somebody trying to fall asleep, and then it was like running around the house, and then it was myself trying to look around where the heck it was at,
Ah,
and then it gets me at the end. I think I used, at the time that the settings of the camera you could put it like a negative or like infrared negative,
yeah.
and then I looked like it was like that was the POV, like kind of thing trying to stalk me in the house, and then I funny thing is, I was in the school news at the time, like school news, like everybody, what is it at noon, like on Wednesdays you'd have like this or whatever, and they played it, and then everybody would watch it, and then they'd ask me another one. I think I made a couple more, and I think I would involve comedy ones, skit ones with Johnny and my cousin Renee, my best friends growing up, my first cousins, and we were just like we were like we just did a bunch of videos, dance videos and comedy videos, like seeing Backstreet Boys dances
Oh,
like
of
that.
course, of course, of
It's pretty
course. You
fun.
have to.
But yeah, like I said, those that's like the main thing of it was just like making horror films by myself or with my little nieces that were like at the time they were how old
That's
were they?
awesome.
3 or 4.
That is super. Let's do one more. Would you say? My second favorite now. Yeah, you show me Cal. But I also like this one. I don't know why. It's just an entertaining one. I mean, they all got their own thing, but for some reason, this one just stuck the right chords for me. So. Oh, Tommy, what is the timing? Does this have to do with the witching hour, or is this random? Like, how do
Yeah,
you select the time? Like, you're just like, well, all right, guys, we needed to be 3 a.m, or like, how does this come about? Like, what were you?
it was both. It was both with like being the witching hour
Yeah,
and it being super late at night. I mean, who the hell? Like the only time you can either be up at 3 a.m. is either you working, late shift worker, or you have a small bladder, or you have a small kid. That's the only time you're gonna be up doing that.
for sure. Okay, let's play. I like the music in this one too. Look at this. This scene here really does it for me. Like the door slightly popped open.
That was actually suggested by that's the mirror reflection. That's my
Oh, it's the
DP.
mirror.
Yeah, that's the mirror on the door. My because it was a small room, and my
Mhm.
DP Ellie Drews, who's shot all of my stuff. She's super talented. She's such a great DP. She also likes the same type of stuff I do, like same movies.
This one here, I don't know. It's just like these shots. Like over the head shot here.
They're just nightmares. Just, um, have
These
you
are
ever
really good
wondered why
actors
grandpa
from
raised
they were from the area, and I saw them
these
on other
nightmares
people's
are
stuff, and I
not
said I got to work with them. They're really good.
nightmares?
Totally. I mean, I was immersed.
His name is Noah. He's a really good actor. He's now out in LA to be closer to his family. And she's now in Atlanta.
Oh, is
She
she?
was in Doom. She played a role in Doom Patrol. She was like in some of the flashback scenes in Doom Patrol. Now
I was 9. It was just like any other day. I had just gotten done eating my
that's
afternoon
Sasha, the little
snack.
girl, the who's playing the younger version of the other one, and
Doorbell
that's
rang.
Desiree, and
My
she's
mom
like my
answered the
muse.
door,
I use her in
and
all of my uh,
I
short films.
just
You've seen her. She's going to be in a ton of these if we watch them all.
that had
And
happened.
Yeah.
she's such a great actress. She's from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. She owns her own businesses. Her
My
husband
dad
owns his own
was
businesses.
sideswiped by
Super talented, super
driver
talented
while
actress.
on duty.
Totally.
When I said goodbye to him that morning, that
The
the very
voiceover.
last time I would
That's
tell
a cameo for producer Zeke Hansen.
the
He's
next
tall
couple
as
months
shit.
went up.
6'3",
Mom
6'4".
lost her will to live and got hooked on some pills that the doctor prescribed her.
It's
I was
tragic.
pretty much taking care of myself. Grandpa
And
came through this
that's
one
actually a
day,
good friend of
and
mine. His name is we're me and him are gonna he's
the
produced a
day
couple
he
feature
vanished,
films and we're gonna work together pretty soon, but
busy.
we go to movies all the time and
He
just
was
chill.
in
He's a really good guy. His name is
darker
Kirkpatrick.
Yeah.
And that's
I always told him, hey, I'm gonna write a role for you. I know you can. You know who could act.
strange.
Because he loves
Really
he loves
strange.
movies. He's just a fanatic of movies. Loves
Does he?
werewolf movies.
Is he?
Oh yeah,
That's
he loves like 80s movies. He's such a cool dude.
What's going on? You've been down here for days. You haven't eaten anything. Allie's worried.
There's the scene right now after this. She's like,
Seriously, Dad.
"You want me to eat?"
Allie,
Yeah.
I'm still bad. I'll be up in a minute to tuck you in.
Yeah, all these shots were composed by Ellie. She has just a really good eye.
I can see what's going on.
Oh, so it's not you.
Laptop.
No, I don't really storyboard anymore. I used to. Like I got rid of all that Rodriguez shit and I just let my DP. Hey, let's go.
I don't know what kind of shit you've got.
There's
yourself
these
into.
very subtle, just slight
Allie needs
zooms
you.
and pans, just very, very
Ask her
slowly.
One morning.
I don't need a lecture from you, Dad.
And then our
This. You want me to eat?
I'm eating.
It's like fuck you, Dad.
You stay away from that thing.
I'm sorry. You were gonna say
Allie at the
something?
mall. Take her to the park.
Oh no. She's just like you said, like the editor who did this, her name is Emily, and she's also a good editor. She's now in Atlanta too. Like I said, most of the people I've worked with are just super talented, but they're so talented they move away. Except me and Ellie. We're Ellie and Julia.
That's funny.
Now I'll tell you what inspired me to write this.
What? This lighting here?
No, the short.
Mm.
Afterwards, I can give you so I don't ruin people watching this. Whoever want to watch this right now. Yeah,
How's
she
this
came up
lighting?
with that shot too. She came up with that like little. She saw it from I think a movie from the '80s. I don't know if it was Cat People or The Hunger, where they always had the little mood bars. Because I said, hey, let's try to do stuff from like the '80s lighting. That's why it was always smoky. I think we had like a fog machine in there every now and then.
Yeah.
So we could get like these cool nooks.
You can really see it out in the external house shot here.
Mm.
What time is it here? Like, obviously, this is a real house somewhere, obviously, right? This is not a set.
Yes, that's actually the house we actually shot the whole short film, and it was an Airbnb. The owner let us shoot it. Like I talked to him about it, and he'd let us rent the house for like a discount and let us shoot it. It's over here. It's just actually not. This is before I bought my house where I am now. It's only like 10 blocks from where I live right now.
Oh,
it's a
is
really
it?
nice area. Oh yeah.
Down the street, I love it. I was gonna ask you how do you achieve this lighting here?
Was it our gaffer? This was one of the things too. It's like I remember when I was making this, I was like, you know what? I want to give. This is at the time, like when this is before COVID, like way before COVID. This is like, you know what? I want to give. I know I trust Ellie, and I know she's been working with a bunch of like female crew members. So this whole crew is like I think it was like 80%, 85% female. So there's a female gaffer, female sound person, female art direction, female assistant director, female assistant camera, female DP. Yeah, it was almost all like 80, maybe 90% female, except some of the actors and me. But they're all super. Like you say, you see, this is one of my best works. Like I said, you could tell it's like this is just to prove to them, hey, females can do this stuff too. And like I'm always been a proponent. That's why, like I said, I'm always been like an equal proponent for females. Cool shit.
That's good. Yeah, I think most of your projects are actually female leads.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I'll give you a tidbit about that later about why.
Cool. I love it. That's exactly why we're here. Good. Okay, let's continue.
Mom? I can't believe it. Mom, who are you talking to?
Somebody wants to say hi.
Honey.
Sweetheart. It's me, Allie. Come give your father a hug. Come here, baby.
Don't you recognize me? Get over here now. Alice. Get over here now!
Yeah.
That's actually a pickup. A couple, like 2 months later.
Oh, really?
That's a pickup. That's a pickup. That's a pickup.
Oh.
Get over here now!
Shot at a different location. That's a pickup.
Grandpa.
Why? If I may ask.
Usually, like that's when you talk about pickup shots or reshoots,
What
like for
happened?
big major productions, is because when you're editing it, you think that's all you need, but then you're like, oh crap, we need some more cutaways, more creature effect shots, more. I need a shot of this to make it more creepy. And it's like we got to make sure that you got to know that's not her dad. That's something else. Imitating her dad.
Gotcha. So you added this.
Like right there. Yep.
Interesting. And where is this, by the way? This setting. This is not in that house anymore, is it? Like this shot in the girls.
It's in the basement. It's the basement of that house. That basement's house is huge.
Is it? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it had that door and stuff. We were like, what the hell is this house?
Yeah, that door. I mean, it looks like a walk-in fridge or something.
It's like a storage something. It was like people would. I think it could have been like a gun rack or a gun thing. That's why it had a padlock on it.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. It even had a padlock. Very interesting. But yeah, look at this. This background is just so naturally creepy, I would say.
It's just such a huge house. It's like
how much
like the
lighting
outside looks small. That's.
Yeah, you lighting this naturally, like with light from the outside? Like, is there windows here?
No, no, that's 100% our gaffer and our DP setting up all those lights. That's probably like 5 or 6 lights.
Because this
like
lighting
lights,
here,
lights.
I mean, this is awesome.
Mom, who are you talking to?
What's all that light? Okay, pick up, Sean.
Get over here now!
And what is that on the hand, by the way? It's like just the glove, or?
Grandpa, something's wrong with Mom.
It's like it's like a creature hand, and he put a bunch of KY jelly on it to make it look slimy.
Filed
oh, really?
Person's report after the mandatory waiting period. That's the last time that I saw my mom. I know it sounds crazy.
Thank you. Thank you for trusting me and opening up.
Grandpa, he saved me. He took care of me. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. I wish you could have met him.
I wish I could have too. He did an awfully good a job on you. Okay, well, since we're awake, do you want to put in a movie?
A movie?
What
time is it?
I don't know. Movie time.
Okay.
Okay. You pick the movie. I'll go make us tea.
Okay.
Okay.
I remembered him saying he was going to make you some food. I thought it was pancakes, but he just said food. How long was he standing back there? That's like it was like this subtle relief. Like, how is this achieved?
The gaffer put like they blocked the light the minute that that he opened the door. He relieved it, showed the shadows. Okay. It revealed them out of the shadows.
Well, he's always there. He's already there.
Yeah, it's the mom and the dad. You see them?
Yeah.
And that's not even the actor. That's the guy. That's Zeke, our producer.
I love this one. I felt like this was the, from all the ones that I saw where like, it felt like a really fully fleshed out story. Like it had like she's telling a story from she was a child, and then we come back to them into the future. I really liked it. I like this one. I think the story in this one is my favorite.
Thank you. What I try to do is I try to make them less than 10 minutes because people's freaking attention spans aren't the greatest. So I was like, in this world, it's like, you know what? I got to make something self-contained stuff because nobody wants to watch a freaking, what is it? Nobody wants to watch freaking 20-minute, 15-minute ones. And I try to tell my friends not to do that type of stuff
Yeah.
because, yeah, unless it's like really, really good. Like, how many, like, if I got to ask people, unless it's like really good, would you watch a 20-minute short film? 15-minute short film?
Yes, this one. You look, this one. I'm telling you, this one felt like it was like a full idea. You know, if the film is good, I don't think it it matters if it's like 7 or 10 minutes or whatever, however long you needed to make it to be a good film. You know, but this one just felt like a complete story. You know.
Yeah, and I always tell people, it's like, yeah, we us as film fans, we would like it, but like the normal person that just likes horror movies that would just want to watch it, a lot of them,
Yeah,
you'd be
totally not.
surprised, would not want 20,
Yeah,
15
you didn't
minutes on
make
their
this for
phone.
me.
Exactly, right?
Totally.
I made it for everybody. I made it for horror fans like ourselves, and I also made it for that accessible, so they could,
Totally.
hey, this is only 7 minutes and 15 minutes. If it's good, it's the first couple minutes or creepy, then I'll watch it, and then they'll just, like you said, it's a stuff. They get drawn in and they want to see the end.
They
And then they're
do.
watching how much time's met, and they're like, "Oh wow, there's only this much left," and they keep watching it. And that's what my whole thing is. And another two is like film festivals, like short films that are shorter in
Totally.
terms of, because it's easier for them to program. But there's an easier way out. But unless the short films like a out of this world, because I've seen some ones. I've seen, obviously me being a film fan, I've seen some 15-minute, 20-minute ones that have like, they look like they were made for like hundreds of thousands of dollars and stuff like that, but it's just like really good stuff that they were able to use that around, or they're really good with After Effects, or really, really good with Unreal Engine and stuff like that. Super talented filmmakers, but like I said, I had to make my time to watch those 15-minute, 20-minute, because that's a commitment. You're gonna watch it, because I don't want to like watch 7 minutes and wait, and then I gotta watch the rest of 20 minutes. It's like, that's such a really good one. There's some ones that have like really good, how do you say it, like there's a friend of mine, her name was Sophia, and she's a filmmaker. She also is in ads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
She lives between Monterrey and Los Angeles, and she super talented filmmaker. I'll ask her if she wants to come on your show. She has
Awesome. I'd love that.
her short's called Pecadillo, and it's about a person who wants to be themselves. They want to be a female. They want to dress like a female, want to do pageants and stuff, but they can't, because the culture, the Hispanic, the Mexican culture, they just don't, don't accept it. They just don't, and they just want to come out. And then you see the devil tempting him to, like, no, you can never do this and never that. And then you see, and across the street, there's like a drag show that's every day, and he watches it and he just like yearns for it. And his little sister one day catches. I won't even just like sees him doing that. And like I said, I won't spoil the short film. You got to watch it. It's a really, really
will. I'll watch it. Tell her we got to get on.
I watched it 4 or 5 times, and I was like, it's like, I could see this getting turned into a feature film. And like, she's such a good, talented director. Like I said, she's a good friend.
I love it. Yes, I will watch it, and then we'll get her on, guaranteed. Next episode. Hey, you have time one more, because I want to review my least favorite one. I'm not gonna be like, wow, you just had this guy on, and you were just like,
yeah, sure.
You were just ball washing the entire. You loved everything. No, I do not. All right. So actually, I think this is the very first one that I saw, and please explain this one to me, because I honestly didn't get it. Am I showing this? No, I'm not. Oh my God, what a fool! There we go. Terrible production values in this show.
It's Des again. That's a fake stomach that you'll see here in a second.
Yeah.
She was actually pregnant like a couple months before this. So that's why she carries herself. Like, she knows how to see.
Yeah, you have her on a lot. She's great, huh? Oops, they're kind of low.
And then Ben Enke, he's a really good DP who DP'd this, him and his crew. This is like one of the first ones that I made here in Minneapolis. I think it was 2017. That's Johnny, actor director.
Oh, is he?
He's super talented. He's directed a bunch of shorts that won awards. And he actually has a feature film that's like a really like he made for like $40,000.
Wow.
And this is Benjamin. How do you do, ma'am?
It's a pleasure to meet you both.
She's like, what?
Hope you're hungry.
Guess it's the guests. Fuck.
This was a duplex I used to live in back in the day with my wife. And not wife. At that time we were dating.
This is it. This is it here.
Yeah, the whole house is.
Oh, wow.
It's basically it's 2-bedroom. It's a 2-bedroom.
This journey is not about our hunger. The company we provide for one another.
In the middle of St. Paul, just like right smack dab. Nice neighborhood.
Is what we crave.
Her face is okay. What? I feel like I'm her in this movie. Like, what's going on here? What the hell? Who are these people? Why are they here? Like, just trying to have dinner and shit.
Don't be scared, Mary. It's still your hubby in here.
The special effects are from my really good friend Ryan Shadley.
Uh-huh.
The prosthetics and all the blood and gore in this. He's worked on a lot of feature films like that have been on like that are like Hollywood productions. As you say, he's worked on Hollywood productions. He's worked on the Wrong Turn remake.
Yeah.
That one that just came out a couple years ago. Another director who's from here, from Minnesota, Mike P. Nelson. But yeah, he's been working. He travels all the time. Him and Becky, they both have a shop here in Minneapolis, and they just do great work.
I mean, yeah, definitely.
Like I said, he did the stomach. He did all the effects. Every practical effects on here is him. It's all him.
It's all practicals. Yeah. Jeez. All right, man.
Now, the only reason this is so super short is because it's part of a horror anthology that's called For We Are Many, and this was like a 10-minute one. This was like I actually wrote this way before I got part of that, so this was like a 10-minute.
This was supposed to be 10 minutes.
This is supposed to be 10 minutes. It has way more in it.
Okay, I need those 5 minutes. You owe me 5 minutes.
I know, right?
What the hell's going on here? I was like, what is this?
I can see why people don't like it because we had just chopped out because we sent it over to the producers and they axed a shit ton of it out. I was like, this is going to be bare bones. We were like, well, at that time, maybe we're going to get something that's going to be on Amazon Prime and stuff and Tubi. So I was like, all right, fine. I'll risk my creative integrity and just have them chop this thing up. So they chopped the shit out of it and we shot it with what me and my writing producer, writing creative partner, who I write all my scripts with. His name is Vince Romney. He's of Laotian descent. And we've been friends for like almost like 20 plus years, man. We're like best friends, and we write all the time. How we write our approaches. I start with a story. I come up with the idea and the story, and then I write the skeleton like a super fast. I'll write it within like a month and a half, like a super skeleton. Like just full rush through it. I don't even go back and check it. And he gets it, he refines it, and he gives it back to me, and I refine it. And then we send it off. People give us notes and come back, and we both like redo it. That's how we work. Like we can have one hammered out in like 3 months, a script, once we get the idea and stuff like that.
Wow.
We're just like super good at like reading each other. He's really good at detail, dialogue, and format. And I'm just story and getting the thing done quick. Like it's like we both have like super like strengths. So like it's a me him or like a partnership. We always tell ourselves like we always tout ourselves like hopefully one day we'll like the next week James Wan, Lee Winall.
Yeah.
Because that's how we work. We're just like we're joined at the hip, just with all of our projects. So I'm gonna give him a special shout out on this. And yeah, me and him were like shit. We had to weigh the conditions of just getting this out or just. And yeah, we regret that we should have done a director's cut, but we were such in a timeline that we couldn't shoot much more. There was probably a couple more we could have added in there, but the bare bones thing of it, as you could tell, is that it was chopped up to shit. So it was basically he was a guy from Arkansas. We were supposed to see him in Arkansas get captured, and he gets turned, and he goes back to his wife, and he's trying to turn her, and it's basically a cult that's trying to like get the Antichrist. It's like a homage to like the Omen.
Right.
It was basically that's what we were trying to do, but it got chopped to shit.
Interesting.
I was trying to see him in like we were gonna go out like in the middle of nowhere, like Minnesota, and make it look like it was like Louisiana.
Yeah.
And have him get caught, and then he gets turned. So you'll see like the first 3 or 4 minutes him getting caught and turned, and then it goes to her, and then that's what makes sense. And then you see that they're trying to get the Antichrist.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, listen, we could sit here and watch, but it's late. And I just want to say you have other shorts that obviously I would recommend everybody watch all of them. They're not that long. As you said, people don't have the time to sit down and watch all of them. They Return and Cal were my 2 favorites. You still had The Throwaways, which is not a horror film. It's actually pretty funny. Killer Date is another one that you also did that is not necessarily, that's more like, I don't know, of a slasher.
A thriller. Yeah. Like a thriller.
Devil's Due, Dearly Departed, and Bad Company, which we just saw. But let the people know, as they say on what's that show that I like to watch with the wings, what's going on in your life and where people can find your work. Obviously, we just saw your stuff on YouTube, but tell us who you are and where we can find you.
I'll give out my social right now. You can just find me. Basically, the funny thing is you can just Google my name, Carlos Omar De León. I did it, and I was like, holy shit, I'm like the only. How could I be the only motherfucker named Carlos Omar De León? And it is, and it just pops up. And I made sure my all my handles were like Carlos Omar De León.
Totally.
Like it's like, so you know what? And now I know why M. Night Shyamalan, that's not his real name, why he did that, because that's a freak. It's like when you Google it, that's when he was smart enough to figure that out. If somebody Googles my name, it's going to come up. It's going to be the first one freaking out. Because if I did Carlos De León, funny thing is, he's like I don't know if he's like a flamingo dancer from Brazil. His name is Carlos De León. He's from Brazil. And if you just type in Carlos De León, you'll go to his page. Before, it used to be a flash page back in the day. Like I remember when I in the early 2000s looking it up to see if I could register it, but I couldn't because it was him. It was like a flash page of his dancing down in Brazil, and then it didn't work for a couple of years, and now it's updated. Now it's like modernized. Like you type in carlosdeleon.com, it goes directly to his like flamingo dancing stuff like that. But now that's why I had the Omar, just like so like that's a unique name. It's a 3-syllable name, Carlos Omar De León.
Totally.
And then you can follow me Instagram, LinkedIn. Well, the easiest, funnest ones is like obviously YouTube, Carlos Omar De León, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Heck, you can find me on almost every single one of them. Like I said, I make sure that I have a good presence. You can find me on all my directing on carlosomardeleon.com. Just type in my name and .com it. That has all my short films on there as well. If you don't want to be lazy and look at it on the YouTube channel. But I also have a Vimeo account, carlosomardeleon.com, and that has all my commercial stuff. So you get to see all the professional crap that I do
Oh,
for my day job.
look at
Like I
that.
said,
You know
I'm
what?
at an ad agency here in town.
Yeah.
Probably the best job I've ever had. I mean, the owners are like I said, I'm not just kissing their butts or anything, but they're freaking cool as shit. Like I've always dreamed of having a job like this where they give me the opportunity to be, go make films on my own time, and like give me PTO to go do it. Like I said, I couldn't ask for a better thing because I deliver. Like I said, I almost on time, on budget, and I don't know what is it. I always promise stuff, and I always get it done early for them. And I always, like I said, the clients always love our stuff. And like I said, they said, "Hey, man, so the guy that started our division, he left like years ago, and we've been looking for a guy for 10 years, just like him. And it's like we found it in you, and that was like 3 years ago. And it was like, it's like I hope you don't leave us. It's like I'm probably not going to leave you, even if I was telling hell, because like I was just joking with it. If I ever go to, like, I don't give a shit about the Oscars, but if I go to the Golden Globes or some shit like that, I'd be like,
Right.
yeah, I'll take a flight, I'll take a red eye, and I'll be back on Monday. So I can trust this, like, and I can just tell you who I chop the shit with, because never gonna leave, because it's like I'm that type of person that just likes to work. I don't like to be like just left to myself and stuff like that. Yeah, and
Sure.
like I said, I make time for my family all the time. Like priority is obviously my family, and then my work.
Of course.
But then, like, obviously, then I also have I make sure that I have equal things, like make sure that, like, important things, like obviously my family. Like I said, I have 3 young kids, a wife, and then also my parents that are getting older, and then my siblings, and then my cousins and my friends. Like I said, you just find ways to combine all the stuff and make sure, like I said, you balance everything. That's one good thing that I try to tell people, is like, make sure you find the right balance.
True.
Like I said, yeah, I could do all this stuff, work my butt off all the time, um, you know, be with my family all the time, but you also have to have your me time to refresh yourself. Don't work, don't write scripts. I go watch movies sometimes by myself at night. I try to get the freaking late movies when my kids are asleep, like the 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I'll go to like an owl draft house, and then on Monday nights I have there is an organization called the Grey Ducks, for LGBTQ uh, club, for soccer club. There's teams, multiple teams, on each day of the week, 7 days a week. There's 400 total players, and I'm the captain of one of the Monday teams,
Right
the
on.
Monday men's teams, and we're pretty good. We've won a couple championships and stuff like that. Like, I'm getting older; I'm almost 40, and I'm the oldest guy, but I can still play with the young guys because I keep in shape. But like I said, that just also helps me like recharge, because I go play soccer, and like I said, I just get away from everything. I just play the game, one of the games that I love. Like I said,
Totally.
favorite sports: soccer, football, baseball. Those are like the 3 that I love. Like, I'm a Chicago, Dallas Cowboys fan, Chivas de Guadalajara fan from Mexico
Of
soccer,
course.
and
No
I'm
question
also
there.
a Chicago Bulls.
A Bulls fan.
from the 90s.
You also have a new. I think we were talking about. I think El Cucuy maybe is the one you want to talk about.
Yeah, I have that one. Like I said, I'm not doing any more anthologies and shit, so I can have total control over like how long it is and the story and stuff. This one actually came with an idea because, like I said, I got inspired to like movie like Talk to Me, like stuff that or like the Babadook stuff that's like metaphorical, but
Yeah.
it's like scary, gets under your skin. Kind of like They Return, like you were talking about why you like They Return. Is I always like those type of movies that they get in your head, but they use like horror as a metaphor. They Return was like a metaphor for, like, what happens if we all had the opportunity to bring back a loved one, we would do it. Like I said, if magic existed and stuff like that, supernatural stuff, a lot of people would do it. But like this, like, but would you know what to do with it? Like in that movie for like They Return, she was trying to bring back her husband who got killed, right? She
Right.
just lost the will to live. So in this world, she could, she found out that she could, but she didn't look in the right places, and it was dark magic. So basically, she brought over something, a demon, that was taking the form of her husband. Like, to her, it looked like the husband, but to the daughter, it looked like that thing.
Right.
It wasn't like, to the daughter's like, holy shit, this is not my dad. This is something that's imitating him.
Right.
So that was basically that. So it was like, it was all about grief, about if you're losing somebody at the time. I think at that time I wrote that too, because I had two pets that I had for like 15 years. I got them when I was in college. They were with me for the ups and downs, for like relationships and jobs and shit like that. They moved with me cross country from like, when I lived in Arizona, Los Angeles, the Dakotas, South Dakota, Minneapolis, all of those things. And then just the grieving is like, what would I do to get them back, right? And I just wrote that, like, hey, you could relate that to, with if you lost a mom, a dad, a child, a significant other, then you had that opportunity to bring them back, you would. And I was like, I wouldn't put it past humans to do that stuff. So I use that as a metaphor for they return. For Kukui, is more like that one is I'll give you the Cliff Notes version of how that one came about. That one was more about I was also going, through stuff that in my life. I went back and thought about the stuff, and I was more like, if you let grief stick with you, it's going to stick with you, and it's going to ruin not only your personal life but your professional life and stuff like that. It's like you got to learn how to deal with it. Not in the sense everybody deals with it a different way. Some people are quicker than others. Sometimes it takes longer, but as long as you deal with it and you confront it, you'll be a lot better. You can talk to people about it, do whatever you need to do to just make sure that you confront it head on. Because if you always just delay it and just like let it sit there, it's just going to consume you. So I use the kukui as a metaphor as it's about two sisters that are grieving. The oldest sister, she came back. She dropped out of college to help raise her sister. Her mom's working day jobs. And her grief is that their dad died of a heart attack in the middle of the night. But she fought before she went off to college. She had like a big disagreement with her dad, like a big blow up, but she never got to say sorry. She was like so prideful that she didn't want to say sorry, and he died. So there was like no resolution, no nothing. So he just died suddenly. So she's gonna live with that with the rest of her life.
Yeah.
She never got to say sorry to my dad. And then the little one, a teenager, she is grieving also for her father, obviously, but then she threw all her love into their dog called Osito. And that dog was older though. So the dog was like 14 when the dad died, and it got cancer, and she didn't want to let it go. And she just let the dog suffer. Like I had a dog that had cancer, and I put them down quickly because I didn't want them to suffer. But what happens if you let them? Because you don't want to until somebody talks to you and you grieve through it. You had to do it for them. It's for you because you're keeping them around just for yourself. That's selfishness, not for the dog. Because you gotta, the minute that a dog's sick and you can't do anything for it, the most humane thing is if you really love them, you gotta let them go as fast as possible so they don't suffer. And she didn't. She has the guilt that, oh my goodness, I let this dog suffer for a whole year for just because I couldn't get over my dad's stuff like that. So this happens all the time. Like there's no fault on anybody. And I use this as the kukui is basically something that's in the background that has no face. It's faceless. Ryan Shadley created the monster. You don't see. It's like Jaws. You don't see it. You barely see the freaking thing in the movie, but it's there. You see it like in the background lurking. Gotcha. You'll see how we shot it. It's going to creep the shit out of people. It's like They Return. It gets under your skin. It's not one of those boo jump scare stuff. It's like Talk to Me. It gets under your skin and makes you think. And the cool thing about this one, we shot it. People keep asking me, how did you shoot? We shot it in both English and Spanish, so there's going to be two versions.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
And the English one's already edited. The Spanish one's only 40% edited. And it's basically I tell people how you structure it is, all the scary scenes, there's no dialogue. Or if there is, it's just one line.
Right.
And then you just edit that first. And then when you're shooting it, you just you light for the scene, and you have the actors say wrap up, and you gotta have them practice beforehand. A couple weeks beforehand, both actors that can speak Spanish and the English versions talk through it. And so when they practice, when they get on set, they know the lines and they can improvise on both English and Spanish. So we shoot a couple takes in English, the two shots, and then cut. Everybody take a break, 10 minutes, and then come back, and not come back, but they still sit there so we don't lose the lighting and shit. They get drinks or snacks, and then set everything up, and then we shoot it again in Spanish. And then we set up again, one shot, do the same thing, English and Spanish, right off the bat, 4, 5, 6, 7 takes in English, 4, 5, 6, 7 takes Spanish, and then same thing. And then with that, the way that our assistant director, Luke, who's also really good, he's also a good filmmaker. He's here in Minneapolis. Ellie shot it too. So Luke and Ellie were primarily really good at. We shot this in 2 days, 2 full days.
Wow.
And it's like an 8 minute and 30 seconds, 8 minutes, 9 minutes. I'm still not gonna like marry down to that. Short film, both versions of English and Spanish. So like you can watch it. It's like when I'll send it to you so you can watch it like with an unlinking. But holy crap, you can pick whatever one you want. You want the Spanish version, you want the English version. So it's the exact same thing. It's just the dialogue is going to be
different
in Spanish.
Obviously.
And I did that because I've never seen anybody else not do that. And we're like, hey, that's something unique. If you want to stand out in this business, you got to start doing stuff like that. You got to swing for the fences.
Sure.
So I was like, you know what, I'm going to swing for the fences. This is something. And then, like I said, I already have people I have friends, not friends, but like, yeah, friends, obviously, because like I said, and partners out in LA that are interested in this. And I also have a producer. His name is Ralph. And he's actually interested in all these shorts. He wants to see. It's like they're all like proof of concepts. Like I have concepts to, like I have like the script treatments, turn them all into feature films.
Yeah.
And he Killer Date is one of them that he really likes. He likes They Return. And I can't remember another one. I think he likes Bad Company. He didn't because it was gory. He liked the story, but it was just too gory. He liked They Return, Devil's Due, Killer Date. Oh, he really liked the Replacement, or not the Replacements. I'm thinking of that Chow Yun Fat movie. The Throwaways for feature film 2, and he has like connections. And like I said, we're working on pitch decks, and I'm going to be like doing like the Hollywood bottle tour, not like Hollywood. Like I'm not flying out there. I'm going to be doing freaking Zoom calls with people, different production companies that turn Kukui, They Return, or any of those, because like horror's big right now. And if you can make a horror movie between $350,000 to $1 million, it's going to make a lot. It'll make its money back, like internationally, not just the States, but all South America and then Europe, stuff like that.
Yeah,
Asia. So what they like about me too is like when I talk to these people, they're like, "Holy crap!" Because I do work in the ad agency world, so I know what ROI, return on investment is, and I know how budgets work. I know how to, because I'm a producer too, so I know how to allocate budgets. And
sure.
So I know I have half of my mind is 50% business, and my other half is 50% creative, and I know how to marry them. Because some artists, I'm like I said, I don't want to knock on artists, but it's like some artists are just like pretentious. They're like, "Oh, I'm too integrous." It's like, no, it's a business. There's a reason that movie that you got to make your money back, and sometimes you can make a piece of art that does hit, that that people do like, and it's very unique, and like a lot of A24 stuff that is commercial, but then a lot of it that isn't, that becomes called classics and stuff. But but if you want to make it in this business, you have to have that mentality of like, okay, you can keep your artistic integrity, or do 2 for them, 1 for you, 2 for them, 1 for you. A lot of directors do that. They'll do like 2 studio movies and then do 1 for them because they both have the credit. And that's the type of person that I want to be, is like, do a couple for them, do 1 for myself, do a couple of them, just be a working director. Like I said, I'm not leaving Linehan Foy right now. Like even if I do get to the point where I get to where I make a movie a year, but like, nah, I'll just build that in. Be like, I'll take, hey guys, I'll be gone this time. Let's just get somebody to fill in for me for about a month, and then I'll be back. Because I was like, I'm not gonna go to LA to go edit. I can just fucking Zoom at nights, and they can edit it, and I can like watch the edit at home. It's like I'm not gonna fucking fly to LA. I'm not fucking flying. Just like, hell no, my family and everything is here in Minneapolis. I'm not gonna move for any of that shit. So like I said, that's why like I always tell them, it's like, I don't leave until you guys kick my ass out, and they're like, that's probably not going to happen anytime soon. So I'm like, okay, that's awesome.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for that. I'm actually really looking forward to that. When you mentioned that in our conversation on the old Instagram, and you mentioned that you were filming in English and Spanish, I never heard about it. So obviously, as a bilingual English and Spanish speaker, it's exciting to me to be able to watch that for the first time. I've never seen it, so it's really exciting. So congratulations on the idea, and I think it's going to be a success. So thank you so much for joining us, and I really appreciate you being here again. Carlos Omar De León. .com, on Instagram, did you say Facebook? I don't remember you say Facebook.
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah, basically you
Carlos Omar De León everywhere. You can find them, catch him, film director, writer, producer, obviously. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me on, man. Anytime.
All right, man. Well, that's going to be it for yet another exciting episode of Rick's Horror Review Show. Of course, you can always find me, Rick, if you want to find me for some reason. I don't know why you would. But if you want to know more about the stuff that I do, you can also find me on Instagram
and TikTok. And not the Facebooks, because that's for the old. But I also have a YouTube channel. Obviously, if you're watching it on YouTube. Oh, no, maybe you're watching it on Spotify. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us on another exciting episode. We'll catch you again next time.